KFSR and CMAC present the Central Valley Ledger, a public affairs program featuring stories from all over the Central Valley with Sevag Tateosian, 90.7 KFSR.
I'm your host, Sevag Tateosian. Welcome to the beautiful Community Media Access Collaborative Fresno Clovis Studios in downtown Fresno, not too far from Fulton Street, the newly opened Fulton Mall. If you're wondering, it's Movember. November is No Shave November, and so this month you will notice that men you know are growing out their beards. That's for to promote men's health. Ask them why they're doing that. Our guests this week are Dr. La Porta from the Armenian Studies program at Fresno State, and Morgan, a Fresno State student. Welcome to the program.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you so much.
So we're here because, first we'll get to know you two, but we're here because there was an event that you two partnered in recently. I'll let you explain, but first, Dr. La Porta, tell us about yourself.
I'm Dr. Sergio La Porta. I'm the Hagen Isabel Barbarian Chair of Armenian Studies at Fresno State. And also this year, I'm the chair of the Department of Philosophy, which is a new job for me, but an exciting one as well. I'm originally from New York City, and before I came to Fresno State, I taught at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, Armenian Studies there as well for 8 years.
And that is in itself is a great experience, teaching overseas. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about students overseas compared to here. Are we all eager to learn?
Well, yeah, I mean, the students overseas were different, especially in Israel, because they usually do their military service ahead of time, so they're older when they come to the university, and they pretty much know what they want to do, and they try and get out. One of the joys of teaching at Fresno State is still being able to expose students to things that they may not have tried before, and seeing them get excited about subjects they've never even heard about before they came to university. So whether it's Armenian studies or classics or philosophy, it's a great experience to see students get turned on to something they never even thought about before.
And you've been here a while now, because I remember I interviewed you when you first came to Fresno.
Yeah.
How long have you been here?
I've been here since 2009. So
wow.
We're happy
Time is flying.
Yeah, it has flown by, and we're happy residents of Fresno now since 2009. My kids really love it here. My wife loves it here. It's a great community, great Armenian community, and the university is wonderfully supportive of the Armenian Studies program and of me personally. So we're really happy to be here.
For the record, I'm glad you're here, and I see you out at a lot of events and functions. You're involved in the community. So now let's turn to Morgan. Welcome.
Hi.
Tell us about yourself.
So my name's Morgan McGuire. I was born and raised in Fresno. Grew up here, just going to high school here, and go to Fresno State. I'm a senior, majoring in media, communications, and journalism with a focus in public relations. I'm a part of the club TALK on Fresno State campus, and I also work for Fresno State for their social media that they have, and I'm loving it.
And off camera, we were talking, you've been to 11 countries.
Yes.
How exciting is that?
Yeah, I fundraised my way. I've been to Europe. It was 2 trips total, but I fundraised my way there both times, and for 2 very different things. But I got myself there, and it was a lot of fun.
What a great experience visiting foreign countries, different countries, especially when you're younger and a Fresno State student. I went to Armenia and France with the Armenian Studies program.
Oh, cool.
And loved the trip. Glad I went at Fresno State. So yeah, I appreciate when younger students go to different countries, they see different stuff.
Yeah, the first time I went, I was in high school, so that was, I was just soaking up everything, just like, what is this place? And then the second time I went was for like 6 weeks, part of like a mission trip, and that was just, it was very different, but still just an amazing experience.
So the reason why we're here is because I read that there was a very unique partnership between TALK, your club, and the Armenian Studies program.
Right.
To bring an author to Fresno. One of you, tell us about the author.
Well,
you would know more about Adrian.
Adrian Alexanian is the daughter of a genocide survivor, Yervant Alexanian, from New York City. And she has recently published her father's memoirs about how he survived the genocide. And one of the unique aspects is that he survived the genocide as a soldier in the Ottoman army. And so she had asked me earlier to write an introduction to that book, which I did. And once the book was published, she went on a book tour, and that has been going around. And so we hope to bring her to Fresno. We thought that this would be a good opportunity also to partner up with other parts of the university.
So you wrote the foreword to this thing?
Actually, Israel Charny, who is an expert in genocide studies and one of the leading figures for Armenian genocide recognition, wrote the foreword, and then I wrote the introduction.
So how when you read the story, what makes it different than the story of 1.5 million other victims of the Armenian genocide?
Well, one of the things is, that really makes it unique is that it is the story of someone who survived while serving in the Ottoman army. We do not have, this is the only memoir of that nature that's been published. So that right away caught my attention. The second thing that I think makes it a really interesting story is that the author, Miss Alexandrian's father, Yervant, really had a keen eye for particularly life in pre-genocide Sivas. He was from the city of Sivas, Sapastia in Armenian, and he really has a very keen recollection of personal relations between himself and Turkish people, as well as other Armenians, and the dynamics within the Armenian community, the different schools that were in the town and moving from one school to another. And so this really gives a vibrant picture of what life was like in pre-genocide Sivas. And then it makes a stark contrast for what happened during the genocide and afterwards, and how much things changed. And he was an active member of the Armenian community throughout his life, particularly in New York. A member of the AGBU, one of the founders of St. Vartan's Cathedral, a member of one of the leading members of the Sapastia Union, and wrote numerous editorials and letters to the editor on the issue. So he remained active and remained engaged in public service throughout his life. So this is the memoir of somebody who embodies all of those elements, and it really makes for a fascinating read.
Hold that thought, because I want to go to Morgan a little bit. So how did the partnership here form? Because, you know, Armenian Studies does a lot of things on its own, and then your department does a lot of things on their own.
Yeah.
How did this partnership form? And then, as you heard about this story, what were you thinking?
Well, the Armenian Studies program and the MCJ, the major that I'm in, were both under the Arts and Humanities at Fresno State. And so my teacher, Betsy, got a hold with the head of the Armenian Studies program, and we, with their collaboration, got together and pretty much got TALK in charge of just the outreach of getting this event known, and also just help with the social media content of it all and prepping for the event itself.
So you get to do the social media for this event. You know, it's not the typical. It's a hard topic, and so, you know, keeping that in mind, you're putting out messages, and are people responding, or tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, you always want to be careful with things like this, because you don't want to post something so cheery, happy with a serious topic like this. And so a lot of the social media content that we created was very much kind of just like excerpts of the book. So like we used a lot of quotes. We even got a personal quote from Adrian and used that and created a lot of just like templates to be used as promotion, and not to mention the poster as well. And so just using like quotes and excerpts like that, it allowed us to share in an appropriate way this event and the seriousness, but also the interesting thing that it is. You know, like he said, it's not every day that you have a book where it's from someone who actually served in the Army.
We're going to come back to, as the event was going on, what were your thoughts to the stories and the audience reaction? But Dr. La Porta, so you have here a soldier in the Army. I don't want to give away the book for people who haven't read it or seen anything on it, but was he actually asked to go arrest Armenians, or what was his role? No,
I mean, the Armenians were unarmed. They were not allowed. Even they originally had been, and then they were disarmed. And so usually they served in work battalions. even then, in the work battalions, more often than not, they were murdered, either in the course of the work or executed, taken out of the work battalion and executed when they were no longer needed. I won't give away the full story because it is a great one to read, but he had a special talent that his regiment needed, and that helped him survive for as long as he needed to.
And so was he taking notes, or how? I mean, look, it's a lot of information. In any book, there's a lot of information. So how was he documenting this?
These are reflections that he pieced together afterwards based on once he was in the United States. And he did do research, particularly there, and Miss Alexanian in particular did a lot of research in getting photos and getting the historical context correct. But the main part of the work itself are his memoirs that he wrote once he came to the United States, and they're over a period of time. So it's not it's not the result of a single narrative that was constructed from, let's say, June 1st to September 20th of 1952. They were notes that he took down over the years and then were collected and put together as a whole. And so I deal with some of the aspects of that in the introduction and how that actually adds to the complexity of the narrative.
How did you get involved? I mean, did she find you, or what's the connection?
Right, it's interesting. The whole partnership is really fascinating. Miss Alexanian asked actually my brother-in-law, Mr. Chris Zakian of the Eastern Armenian Diocese in New York, and he suggested me as a possible person to write an introduction. She contacted me, and I said yes. So that's one step of sort of cooperation. And then Ms. Alexanian also knew Jim Malikian out here, and he was also instrumental in getting the Armenian Studies program together with the coordinator, Professor Barlow Dermagadichian, and the Dean of the College of Arts and Humanities, Dr. Saul Jimenez Sandoval. We all met together and plotted, or I would say planned, how we could coordinate. And Mr. Malikian is also a supporter of the MCJ program, and so their involvement was also critical here.
TALK. Tell us about this organization. What are the things that your group does?
So TALK is a student-run PR firm on Fresno State campus.
Which is cool. I hate to interrupt you, but just the sound of that, a student-run PR firm, like that's like big time.
I like saying it too.
It sounds great. Like I love hearing it.
It's fun, especially when you're a student. You don't think of it that way, and so the fact that I can walk around and say, because people ask me, because I'll just post on Facebook or something from my own experience, oh, I did this in TALK, and they're like, what is this? And then I get to stand there and say, well, it's a student-run PR firm. But I mean, not only that, it's hands-on experience for students. So, and it's nice because it's a club right now. It will become an official class required for public relations students in the fall, which is really exciting. But right now it's a club, so anyone can join. And we get hands-on experience with real clients, and the Armenian Studies was our client for all of us this semester, but we also split into different, like, smaller groups, and we each get like a client in that small group as well. And we sit down with our clients at the beginning of the semester, ask them like what they need from us as students, and so that we can help them, and then we draw up a social media plan, and then we meet with them again and be like, this is how we can help you. And we just work on that throughout the semester and do our best to give them what they need and do it in a way that's satisfying to them and we feel accomplished as well.
So the benefit to the students, enormous. They're actually working with a client, getting that hands-on experience. Looks great on a resume. Looks great to do because you're actually working on what you want to do in the future. What's the benefit to the Armenian Studies program of partnering with TALK?
I think in general it helps because not everyone knows all the new technology that comes with social media, and it's changing every day. And you get people in these departments, and they're like, you either get people that know or they don't. And I think this kind of took that weight a little bit off of their hands, where they were like, here, we would just like to come alongside with you and have you do this, and then we can focus on this event itself. And because we reached out to the Fresno Bee and we reached out to news stations and even your centralvalley.com, we reached out to different people and we did the things for them that they didn't really need to focus on when you have a student PR run firm on campus. It allowed them to kind of be able to focus on the event at hand and be there with Adrian while we kind of scheduled things for her and had this going for them.
I saw stuff in the Bee. I mean, I think it was well done. So congratulations on, whoever on your team did that work, because the Bee covered it and, I saw it on different places.
Yeah, they really did a fantastic job. The Friday edition of the Bee that covered that wonderful article.
It was so good.
The poster was professionally done, and we always get a large turnout because we have a great community, so we always get a large turnout for our lectures, but this was larger than our large turnouts. And it really was impressive. We had an overflow room because not everybody could fit in our normal audience hall, and so we had a second room in which people could watch it as it was live streamed on Facebook. And you can, I think, still see it at the Haishar Zoom Facebook site. That's HYESHARZHOOM Facebook.
That was good, by the way.
Thank you.
I would have butchered that.
And so I think it's still there, but it was live streamed over that. So that's how many people showed up for this event. It was one of our larger events that we've had, and really that's a credit to all the effort that these students really put in. And the Associate Dean, Dr. Honora Chapman, was there that evening, and she was so impressed. She went around saying, "Why aren't we doing this for everything?"
So you might have more clients.
Oh, yeah.
So
maybe.
It really was a resounding success, I think, on all sides. I know from our perspective, from the administration's perspective, and seeing all the students there, it seemed like from their perspective, too, they were all excited and engaged, and Betsy also looked really happy with the product. So I think it was a smash hit all around.
So, and, I used to take Armenian Studies classes. I'm a graduate of Fresno State years and years and years ago. Professor Barlow, Dermagardician, who we can't go without saying, he's been an asset to that program. I saw on his Facebook, watch live, but I saw it late. I saw it like hours later, and I go, if I only knew, I would be watching. So the reason I bring it up is technology. That's awesome that you're live streaming the thing, because before that wasn't the case.
No, it wasn't the case, and it's the live streaming does expand the audience tremendously and gets people engaged who aren't in Fresno as well. And we know our Haishar Zoom newspaper goes out to about 5,000 people worldwide, and so now they can also follow through Facebook as well and watch some of the events that we put on.
And it just allowed us to have another room that allowed us to have just even an extra at least 80 people who couldn't be there, but they were right next door, so they could still come to the event.
And
I'm curious, what did the author think? Did anybody?
She was fantastic. I mean, first of all, because there were so many people, the most unfortunate part was we didn't have enough books to sell. They were sold out almost immediately.
Yes.
And she kindly donated the proceeds of that sale to the Armenian Studies program. So we were very pleased with that, but we could have sold even more. We didn't know at the time. So she was very pleased on that, but you can order it on Amazon. It's still there. It's sold out 3 times on Amazon.
So I want to shift gears a little bit. The genocide is a very sad topic. My grandparents went through it. My grandpa left an audio tape of what he saw. Sad, horrible things that nobody should go through. But is there a resilience there? Is there like this, what, they survived the genocide? Is there a silver lining, Dr. La Porta, at all?
A silver lining?
Not a silver lining.
Silver lining is hard to find. What definitely is the case is that the Armenian culture and Armenian society is not, and of course the Armenian people, has not died. It has continued and it's flourished. It's flourished here in particular in the United States and in California even more so.
And the reason I asked the question is there it was negative. There's no silver lining, nothing. It was a bad, horrific event. But what I see is a community that's more connected. Am I right or wrong?
Well, social media, and that has been an amazing thing to witness, how through various forms of social media and communications, that a dispersed community like the Armenian community is able to really keep itself together, not just in Fresno, where there's always been a very tight community network, but then with their relatives in Mexico, in Argentina, in France, in the Republic of Armenia especially. And so I think Armenians have been able to capitalize on the technological advances of the 21st century to enhance their own sense of connectedness and of community. And it's also allowed them to experiment with what it's going to be, in the sense of what will being Armenian mean in the 21st century. And you know, every community changes over time, and its identity evolves. And a younger generation of Armenian activists are changing what it means to be Armenian right now, and being able to do that internationally through these sort of forms of social media is really an amazing thing to see. And you know, it's anyone's guess where it's going to go, but it's fascinating to watch.
So, Morgan, tell us about the audience. I mean, it sounded like it was a diverse audience. What would you say?
Yeah, it was. I think we definitely had a range from young to old. I would say the majority was a little older, but it was really cool to see students in the audience. And it was fun too, because one of our photographers that we had there captured a shot of Adrian signing a book for this like older couple. And the picture is just this man just beaming from ear to ear. And it was just, you could tell people were just excited to be there, and they wanted to hear from her, and they wanted to hear about her father. And so I felt like the audience was just, they were just excited to be there and to be with a community that's their own, but it's still sharing it with other people and other students.
What did you learn through this? And it doesn't have to be related to the topic of genocide, but in this whole partnership, did you have some valuable learning, and what were those?
Oh, yeah. Well, and I was one of the people who came up with the social media posts. So even just like, I think I'm very used to creating like fun posts, because a lot of our clients have been like, whether it's like bakery goods or, you know, things like that. And I learned a lot of dealing with that serious aspect. But I think the biggest thing too is how simple you can use social media to just even create an overflow room. Like the fact that here we have this auditorium, but we also conveniently have an amazing space right next door. Let's just put this on Facebook, and then we can stream it over here.
And that must have happened like spur of the moment.
Yeah, I don't know if he was planning on it. I know that I didn't know about it until I was there, but it was still, I think for me, it was like, why don't we always do this?
Yeah,
like,
I think Barlow realized somewhere at the end of last week, beginning of this week, that it was going to be a larger than usual crowd, because we were getting phone calls. Thanks to the work that these students have been doing, we're getting phone calls asking where it was going to be, and from people we don't normally hear from. And so he started thinking about how can we prepare if there are too many people. And so conveniently that room was available. And so it wasn't spur of the moment, but it also wasn't in the original
initially planned.
Right, so it was sort of an adaptation, a last minute adaptation there, but that there was enough time still to plan it so that it worked well. Yeah, we could check it out, because you need that to work. And it did.
And one of the things that I appreciate is what Morgan said, that, you know, usually the social media posts, they're these bubbly, like, feel good, like, you know, go get them.
Optimistic,
like these, you know, beautiful cupcakes with frosting.
Yeah.
But here, like, you saw that they knew that, you know what, this topic is not one that we should be bubbly about. And I think that takes a lot of maturity. Dr. La Porta, what would you say about that?
Yeah, no. From the entire process, we were incredibly impressed with how they handled the topic, which is a sensitive one. Also, the interpersonal skills. I mean, we talk about social media and also about how people no longer can communicate with each other because they're all communicating through social media. But at every stage, whether it was from Betsy, whether it was from the students, once Ms. Alexanian arrived, everybody was there, everybody was present, they were able to talk to you, they knew what was going on, and so it was really professionally done. And really, it's something I think the university can be proud of. It's obviously something you guys should be proud of, because as students, I think you put on a very professional marketing and PR event. And I think everybody should be really pleased about that.
So we are running out of time this week on the program. Tell us where people can find out information about TALK and the cool things that the students are doing.
Yeah, so TALK has their own Facebook and
I'm
Instagram.
going to like that page. I have not, admission here, I've not liked the page yet.
Oh, no, you have to.
I will.
Now's the time, especially since we're becoming like an official class. Now would be a really good time, I think, because we are getting more active. We're getting more members as time goes on. So, but yeah, we have a Facebook and an Instagram. Even if you like the MCJ Facebook and Instagram too, we post all over, but Talk gets featured on that. And we're going to be continuing to be working with clients through next semester and now. So it's exciting.
And I love how they use the term clients. I mean, they're ready. Like,
Yeah, they're ready.
I think
They are.
watch out because they're coming and they're
Yeah.
going to be hired and they're going to do a great job. So
Yeah.
congratulations. I mean,
Thank
I know that
you.
this is a sad topic, but
Yeah.
it sounds like, you and your group appreciated, respected, and you did a phenomenal job getting it out there.
Thank you.
Dr. La Porta, your turn. Tell us where people can find out about the Armenian Studies program.
Well, we have the Armenian Studies website at Fresno State. You can type it in Google, Armenian Studies Fresno State. It will take us to the Armenian Studies, take you to the Armenian Studies website. Also the Hai Sharjum Facebook
long
page.
word.
Yes, I've already spelled that once. I have to go back to find that one out. And this was our last event for the semester. We always have very busy semesters, but we'll be starting up again in January. And our annual banquet will be on March 11th. So get your tickets early, and we hope to see you there.
And we look forward to some of the more partnerships that are going to come
Yes.
out
Yeah.
between these
Definitely.
organizations and some of the other. It sounds like some of the other programs.
Yeah.
We don't. Yeah, we want to save you.
I know, you're like, you're only ours.
On that note, thank you two so much for being here. That's all for this edition of the Central Valley Ledger. I'm your host, Sevag Tateosian. Our guests have been Dr. Sergio La Porta from the Armenian Studies program, Morgan McGuire, student from TALK, and the MCJ program
Yes.
at Fresno State. For the record, I'm an alumni of Fresno State, and I took classes at the Armenian Studies program. And at Fresno State, KFSR is also broadcasting
yay.
this
Yeah.
radio interview. We are recording out of the beautiful downtown Fresno studios of the Community Media Access Collaborative Fresno Clovis, not too far from the newly opened Fulton Street, which was the Fulton Mall. By the way, you will notice that men are growing more facial hair this month. It's the month of November, also called Movember. It's to promote men's health. So when you see somebody who normally does not have a beard, and I've got mine going, ask me why I'm growing it. I'd love to tell you the issues of health that men face. Thank you to those listening to this broadcast on 90.7 FM, KFSR Fresno, and to those watching this broadcast on CMAC, Comcast 93 and AT&T 99. We hope you enjoyed the program this week. Obviously, we couldn't do it without the volunteer crew in the studio and behind the cameras making us look and sound good. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the program. Tune in next week to a new edition.
KFSR and CMAC present the Central Valley Ledger every Sunday morning at 11:30. For a complete program schedule, visit kfsr.org.